Welcome to this week's episode of Casual Talks, in which I interview Miss Harvey. She's a pro Counter Strike player. She's from here in Montreal, Quebec. And we touch on time management, project management, the local scene, mobile gaming, game design, and a lot of tips on how to just handle the life of a busy person. I hope you enjoy it. You can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything you want. And now enjoy this casual talk. Welcome to Casual Talks, my show where I interview prominent gaming figures. Today I have a wonderful guest, one of my favorite French Canadian, Miss Harvey. Welcome.
Hi, I'm with Loki. Say hi, Loki. Hi. Dee, 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 dee.
Say hi to her awesome new dog. What kind of breed is that?
It's a Pomsky.
It's
So
actually
she's a Pomeranian Husky. It's been my dream for so many years to have one, and I finally got her. Really
that's
excited.
awesome.
Yep.
Is how hard is it to when you have to like go to events, fly out? Like, do you bring your dog with you, or does she like hang out?
So she's still a puppy, so she needs to be like taken out like every hour. So she needs like almost 24-hour care. So I don't bring her at the moment. But we traveled with her a couple times, so she's amazing. She actually can sit in her little like transportation crate and not
Yeah.
say a word for like we flew with her for on a 5-hour flight. She didn't say one word.
Oh, that's
So
actually insane.
yeah, she's actually sick. But when she's inside the house and stuff, she needs to be she's gonna pee more and stuff. But when she's in her crate, she doesn't pee. She's really cool. Yeah, so I need someone at home always taking care of her. Which I have. That's why I was able to buy her. Hee hee.
That's
But
that.
she's gonna be bored in a second, I think.
Yeah,
So
she seems very active.
I just wanted to show her with my our grandparents gave her this mascot yesterday, so she loves playing with her.
Oh my god, she's like in love with it. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
think. Oh my god. It's like one of these kind of dogs that you see like on Instagram or like stuff like that where you're like, oh my god, like do they even
Yeah.
exist? And then boom,
Yeah.
you have one.
She is the softest thing I've ever seen and the sweetest thing I've ever seen. She's
Uh,
literally perfect, and everywhere we go, she's like everyone stop what they're doing and points, and they're like, "Oh
yeah.
my god!" And like people can't believe she actually exists. She looks like a little fox.
Yeah, she does actually. It's like the kind of dogs you see in like in the movies or like in the TV
Mhm.
shows. It's really great.
She's perfect.
That's really great. So you're able to still manage that and all of your events, your travels. We were saying before we started the podcast how busy like you are just in general.
Yeah.
You seem kind of relentless. I don't know where you how do you get like all that energy to do like so much? Like
Um, I I think I create my own schedule. I'm actually pretty tired all the time, but I do find times to nap and sleep. Like for example, last night practice ended like at 1 a.m. Like I started laundry. I was in bed by 2, but I had to be on CBC radio at 7:30
Ooh.
in the morning. But I woke up and I was like, I can't go to the studio because it's gonna take me like with traffic and stuff to go to the studio. It would have taken me like 2 hours back and forth. So I said, like, I called them. I'm like, can I do it on the phone? And they're like, yeah, let's do it on the phone. So I did it on the phone. So that saves me a couple times. Then I napped until my bank appointment. So like,
Yeah, so you
and
sleep
then
when
here
you
we
can.
are, and I'm getting a delivery for furniture while this podcast is happening. And my parents need to go to the airport to pick up something that I forgot in the flight yesterday. And it was all like happening at the same time. So that's why they're going and I'm not going. And then after I have another interview for a panel I'm doing next week. So we're meeting with all the panelists and then I have practice, but I got to do personal practice time prior to watch demos and stuff because we have a match tonight. So yeah, my schedule is hella hectic, but I'm probably gonna take a 30-minute nap after this call. So I don't know. I make it work. I think that I have great people around me to help me from the boyfriend to the parents to the friends to my agent and everyone that kind of has to deal with me and work with me, they always like figure out how to do it. So it's been good.
Naps are the secrets. So you take multiple, like whenever you have like half
Yep.
an hour, you're like, okay, I'm gonna nap here, I'm gonna nap there.
I take all my naps. I love napping. I think it's the key to my success, or else I wouldn't be able to do it. I think she's done. Are you done, little poo? Okay. Here we go. She doesn't really like being on our laps. She loves sleeping at our feet, but not being in our laps.
At least I guess autonomy. If she's at your feet, she can leave whenever she wants. Just the
Yeah,
fact that she's like stuck there, is like
she's really funny because she's super independent, but also uh like social. Like she always wants to hang out and play, but she doesn't want, like, me to pet her, like, she just wants her to be right next to me, it's kinda weird. And then
it's
sometimes when I pet her for too long, she looks at me and she goes, "I'm gonna go in my crate," and then she leaves her crate. I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I know you don't like being pet too long."
she's like, I
But
want to be there, but alone, but with you,
yeah,
but
yeah,
alone.
that's exactly, and you know what? That's exactly how I am all the time too, like, "I wanna be with you, mom, but I wanna be on my laptop and next to you."
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Just want your close presence around me, so I
yeah.
know that if there's something, you're there. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've just described like today you had what, like 3 interviews just like today alone. You had like you were meeting the panelists, you had the interview this morning, and you have this one right now. I guess that has to affect your practice time, right?
Yep.
Like, do you notice like any impact with your teammates, or has that created like any kind of conflicts?
Yes, absolutely. I think that my priority still needs to be my team, but sometimes it's hard to balance both, and I don't always manage it very well. I used to manage it awfully, actually. Now I will never cancel practice for almost anything, and I will always try to make sure I can warm up before. So, like, let's say I have practice at like 6, I won't have like something up until 5:30. Like, my cutoff is gonna be 4, so that like I can eat, get ready, warm up like before practice. So, and I always manage to have practice at the hotels I'm at or whatever. Like, I get my setup delivered at hotels, and I practice from hotel rooms, and like for example, I wasn't home for the last 4 weeks, but I still was showed up at every practice, no matter where I was in the world. But sometimes, like, my hours actually hurt outside of practice. So like the girls play a lot on their own. I don't. So that's where it hurts the most.
I can feel that. How many hours per 2 weeks do you spend on Counter Strike? Because I know Steam, it's per 2 weeks. Just on average, how many hours do you
Mm,
average?
like for example, my teammates are around 80 to 90, and I'm like, oh my good 2 weeks, I can do like 60, 70.
Okay, so it's
Um,
not that far away.
but it still
It
shows. And
yeah,
right now I think I have a little less because I took a almost a week off for a gig in let me see how much I have for a gig in LA for Unity.
like while you look for that, are your teammates like as busy as you, or like are they
No.
all only like playing the game? Because there's more to like there's some players that will just put 100% of their free time into the game, which if you're playing like 100 hours per 2 week, I mean that's maybe not all of your time, but it's pretty damn close. uh is there anyone else that is kind of in the same reality as you, or are you kind of like the lone wolf in the celebrity life while being a player?
I'm the lone wolf. I have Emmy on my team who's going to school, so she has like different responsibilities. So she goes to school every day and she has homeworks and stuff. So she's pretty busy as well. But my other teammates, they kind of do almost the team full time. They have other obligations and they do like other stuff, but it's pretty different than what I do. And I have it open right now. I have 42 hours, so it's
Okay.
really, really low. They're probably upset looking at these numbers.
Just let
Yeah,
it let
and
it run idle, just they won't know.
no, they know. No, they know. They see, they inspect. They're like,
uh,
none of them really have that much, but I think it's a choice more than the like, I choose to live the way I live and they choose the way they live. to live the way they live. It's a very demanding, very stressful, and sometimes frustrating because I don't feel like I succeed in every aspect of it. Because if I was doing like the other stuff full time, I'd be more successful. When I was doing esports full, like pro gaming full time, I would be also more successful within each sphere. But um, it's a choice. I like my life, and I'm not gonna change it for now.
I think overall it's true that, you know, obviously if all the time you took taking interviews, doing stuff like you do, you would probably be a better player. But ultimately, I think for whatever happens after, if there's like an after pro play, what you're doing right now has to be better for the long term. Like when I'm saying long term, like, you know, 5, 10, 20 years.
Hmm.
I assume that has to be better. Is that kind of your thought process, or is it simply because you just enjoy the way you're doing right now?
I do enjoy it a lot. There is some thoughts about my future, but I also think that I can do and go anywhere. The only thing I can't control is my quote unquote fame and following, meaning like you never know when you pop up and when you don't. But the rest, like if I want to work in like production or game design or whatever, like I know I can do it. So it's more a question of right now I have fun doing it, you know?
Yeah, and you have, I mean, like you said, fame is kind of, I mean, for everyone, I think is very volatile. You don't know what's gonna happen. But you have like a lot of stuff that you've done. You know, you've been a game designer for, I think, like 8 years, 6 years, five,
Hmm.
around that number. So whatever happens after, you still have like all that background. Not only do you have like a unique point of view because you've played pro, so you have a point of view that like 0.001% of
Yeah.
players like in video games have, because you know it's, I mean, you know, you're in the minority, so you can always bring that. Do you still like do some consulting business with Ubisoft? Because I know you've done that for a while.
Um, no, not at the moment, but like I'm still in contact with a lot of people there, but I'm also now in contact with like a lot of studios. So it's not just UB now. That's why I'm not contracted with them anymore, because so that I can kind of do whatever. Still respect a lot of the people that I worked with, and I still feel connected to EB by because it was my first game dev company, and I worked there for so long. Um, but right now, I'm currently not doing any consulting on any game at EB.
Did they ever approach you for Rainbow Six? Because UBMTL they are the company that deal,
Mm.
you know, that manage Rainbow Six, and you know it's not the same obviously as Counter Strike, but both games are shooters, with bomb sites and stuff. Did they ever ask you to help on that, or can you disclose that? Maybe not.
Um, at the beginning, when Rainbow Six internally was starting, is like competitive kind of desire. I was actually on another franchise and another game, and I wanted to stick to that. So I actually referred because you know how it works within companies. Sometimes resources are really precious, and because I didn't want a switch project, my project also didn't really want to lend me and spend time with them because you know they were paying for me. So um what happened is I we started talks and it was like very very early, and I recommended one of my best friend at the time, Geneviève Forget, to join the team, and she started as a community manager, and like she leveled up within the company while on Rainbow Six. But yeah, she ended up her nickname is Living Pink, and she ended up shipping Rainbow Six and being a huge part of their success with like everything that had to do with post launch and communication. And yeah, she's no longer on the team, but she definitely was a success story on that project.
Oh, that's awesome. So you'll let you couldn't go, you referred, and it turned out successful. That's awesome. 'Cause I guess whenever you refer someone, not only do you hope like they get taken, but you also hope they do a good job.
Yeah.
Because you're like, now my name's on it, so you better you better not fuck it up.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. I'm curious. Is like I know FPS is you know, that's what you do for a living, but are they like your favorite genre, or like what do you play when you're not practicing? Do you only play FPSs?
So I right now I only play Counter Strike, even except I play mobile games. Which let's not talk about that. But actually, there's one game I play that's really cool. It's called Empire and Puzzles. I really like that game. But other than that, the other games that I play are pretty trash. But I still play them. Um, I only play Counter Strike. But before when I had more time, when I could sit on the couch and just casually play games, which that hasn't happened. Like I actually don't remember how it feels to not have something to do and just chill. Um, but when that moment happened, my favorite games were the action adventure types. So um slash sometimes even RPG. So something like, of course, the Mass Effects, but Witcher is really my favorite franchise. I really like the crazy environments. So even when I played Star Wars, The Old Republic, and these kind of games, I really, really liked it because I just love being part of a completely different universe with powers. So like superpowers or magic or like I don't know, things that are impossible in our life. I freaking love it. So or races like in Mass Effect with different like there's humans and then there's other things. This is really my kind of environment and just games. So relationship between the characters as well is super important in the story. As well as really like the controls. So when the game is actually really well polished as well. I like it.
Oh, that's awesome, and I think it's something that a lot can relate. I My favorite kind of games are always stuff that you can't do in real life. It's like
Mhm.
that's the fun of playing games. You know, shooting fireballs. Like I can't do that in regular life. And there's I feel like there's always been two kind of things happening in like game dev. There are games that try to be like as close to reality as possible, and I've never been drawn to those because I'm like my goal is not to have real life on my computer. Like I can have it if I want to. When you were doing some game designs, I assume that your love for fantasy or Unreal I don't know how to call it other than fantasy. I guess that affected a lot of your decisions and your path where you were going. Is that right?
As a game designer, yes, but at the same time, you know, I think I was the kind of designer that I could work on anything and I could make anything work because I still understand the public and what people want. So I worked on Far Cry's and Far Cry had to be realistic. Although, it's weird because when you make a game like Far Cry, it has to be realistic with unrealistic things in it. So it's super interesting. What does the player consider possible? Like if you're shooting up a village, they consider that possible. But no magical healing, like
Yeah.
these guys. So it's very, but if you shoot it with a syringe, then that's okay. So it's really, really interesting to work on these like quote unquote realistic game that are absolutely not realistic. Um so I think that was a really good challenge for me and I loved it. So as a game designer, I was still because I think you evolve as a game dev, and I was still in the for most of my beginning career, I would say like first to 5 to 7 years, I was okay doing quote unquote someone else's game that I would make my own. Today, it might be different if I had to go back because I'm more mature and I evolved and I kind of want to do things that are fulfilling to me. So I might want to go more to something fantastic, something unrealistic, something that drives like something inside of me. But it was okay for my career at Ubisoft.
Have you thought about doing your own games eventually, going or as a lead project in any studio? Is that something that you're looking forward
Yes.
to?
Yes, I actually always have it in the back of my mind. I want to do like right now. I would love to do a mobile game, just because I think it's something that is actually achievable and not too costly. Like, I saw so many people in esports. So many. Okay, I saw like maybe 5, 6 people in esports start game studios and pretend that they can do it. I've actually been in a game studio and it's fucking hard. Um, you can't just like it's not something that right now I want to do. Maybe when I have a kid and I don't want to travel anymore potentially, but uh yeah, it's not something I want to do. But mobile game design is something that I would love just because I travel all the time. I understand um mechanics. My goal wouldn't be to make money. It would really be just to have people kind of enjoy their time. So this is still something I'm thinking.
Off the top, what would be your like your ideal mobile game? Maybe not as a designer, but like as a player, what would be your ideal game?
You know, some the game that I'm playing right now, Empire and Puzzle, is super interesting because the end game is stronger than the beginning, and I think that's what mobile games usually lack. They're super strong to hook you in, and then they get fucking boring really fast because the money comes into play, and you have to pay, and it's just like you get really with the energy and all that kind of stuff. It gets really like same same pattern all the time, and the longevity of these games are really short for me. I install and uninstall them every couple days until I find like games where yes, I spent money on Empire and Puzzle, but it wasn't because I had to. It was really by choice. After like 3 months of playing like almost 2 3 hours a day, I was like, you know what, like I've been playing for so much, and even when I spend money, I don't get what I want. So it's not like a pay to win, it's really like a chance thing. But still, for me, this is the kind of game that works. Honestly, it would just be a game I would play. Like, I'm super ADD of a human. Sometimes I don't really want to spend hours in front of a computer and play or mobile play a game, but sometimes I do. So like it would have to be something that allows me to do both. Like Empire Puzzle allows me that. Sometimes you can autoplay. You can even like use like their in-game currency to like skip level because you're in a rush and you just want to do your things. But other times you want to play 2 hours, it's also possible. So um I think that's something that is appealing to me.
So it's above all flexibility, basically being
Yeah.
able to do both. Um, it's funny because it's so different than like Counter Strike, which is probably
Yeah.
like one of the least flexible game that I've played because the games are so long usually. What's the length of an average game in Counter Strike? Like
It's a
40?
45 minute. Yeah.
45? Okay. I want to move and touch on Counter Strike a lot, but before that, I don't know. I assume you don't remember, but like 4 years or 5 years ago, you did a keynote at University of Montreal for the minor in video game studies, about audio design,
Yeah,
in
I
Counter
remember
Strike.
doing that.
Yeah, I was there, and it made me buy Counter Strike because I was like, oh shit, that sounds like super interesting. I've never been like a shooter guy, but I was like, okay, it seems interesting. There's like this whole team aspect that she's talking about, and then the audio, where you can kind of guess where people are. I mean, not guess, but know for sure where people are based on sound. I was like, oh, that sounds like it actually sounds better than I thought. So I got home, I bought it, and I played like a total of 100 hours,
Oh, that's pretty
because
good.
I had like a bet against myself, because every time I tried shooter games, I was awful. I'm awful at shooting people. I'm just really bad. I click basically anywhere but the person. So I figured that I didn't like shooters because I was bad at them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sink 100 hours. I'm gonna really try hard and see if it's really because of that. And turns out even after 100 hours, I'm still god awful, and I just can't shoot people to save my life. So now I'm not. I don't play anymore because that's too rough. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you that like the whole team aspect also just isn't really present when you're not in a pro team. You're like just trying to learn, and then you obviously instantly die and just get flamed. You're like, well, there goes the team aspect that I wanted to be part of. What brought you in initially, like way back with Counter Strike?
I think it was just the desire to be part of a community. Like I don't know if things are different at a low level nowadays because I'm not at a low level, but back then there was a lot of local players, a lot of people that you could like kind of relate to. You could play like just pubs. Like you didn't have to like compete right away. You could just like hang out. And we would meet real life and we would meet in the game almost daily. Like at a local LAN center, or if you couldn't go, you would just play from your home. And I just like kind of it was in my high school year and I just wanted to belong, I guess. Um Kind of didn't fit within any of my um like other activities. Yeah, I was in sport and art and like theater and everything, but I just didn't fit. Like I was also in dance. Like I didn't have like much uh people I wanted to hang out on the weekends
Yeah.
with. So that's where with gaming I started like fitting in. But I didn't realize that before I started gaming. It's weird.
Yeah, it
It's really
is.
weird.
Yeah, when you come back and you're like, oh, that's why I'm so hooked on games. It's because, and while you experience it, you're also much, much younger. So you don't have
Yeah.
this kind of self reflection of why you did some things,
Yeah.
because you're just living it. You're not like analyzing
Mhm.
everything that's happening. Um, but okay, so that's what brought you to gaming, and I think a lot of people can relate. I think that's why websites like Twitch are so massively successful. It's because people just want to hang out with other people that like the same thing as them. So was it instantly like you went into Counter Strike, or did you try multiple games? Try to maybe, I don't know, play at a high level in other games before Counter Strike, or was it always that?
I've played games my whole life. So even before what I just told you about, I was gaming, but it was all solo games. Well, not all solo games, but it wasn't competitive games like that. But even the internet didn't really exist when I was a kid. So it was like Mario Karts and Wave Race and these kind of things, but they're local multiplayers, not online multiplayer. Um, but like I played The Sims, I played like all these little games. And then when I started competing, it was really Counter-Strike. There was no other game.
And what, I guess, because I can understand like the whole community thing that was first, and the fact that it was like a shooter and stuff like that came second. Like,
Hmm.
would it would it have been another game if, for example, I don't know, the first few people you found online that you connected with would be part, I don't know, they would be playing Dota or whatever other
You know what? I
game.
was about to say it was almost Dota because we kept playing Dota after CS at the LAN center. So it was called Dota All Star before. Um, and like it was this new thing that like everyone bought Warcraft 3 to be able to play Dota All Star. And I bought Warcraft 3 and started playing Dota. So I actually started playing Dota like in 2003, like something like that. But I never transitioned to like Heroes of Newer that came first, and then League, and then Dota 2. I got my beta keys for all these games. Like I still have like a beta skin for League, but I've like played League very little. Um, it's like the Rasmus Bowser like you got when you were
Yeah,
in the beta. So I was almost a MOBA player. Like I really like Dota. It's just my community played Dota for fun and competed in CS. So we kind of just stuck to CS. But it could have been Dota. Like if there was uh bigger forums or something for Dota then maybe that would have been the game I picked up. But there's only MIRC and like the Dota scene is really underground, like way more underground than CS.
yeah.
Like CS at least had like channels and everything. Dota was like it was not an esports. It was literally just like a fun mod that people played.
Yeah, at that
So
point, it's hard to imagine Dota not being an esport, because now it's, up
it
there
wasn't
with the top
right. It
dog.
was
But
literally like
yeah,
Counter Strike players playing Dota after their Counter Strike games because it was super competitive and really easy to pick up because there's just the heroes, no like managing all the resources and stuff.
yeah, I assume it is a way more like stripped down version of what we have today. So it,
Honestly, it was super similar. You'd be
oh really?
surprised. Like, yeah,
Probably
even like I don't know if you know anything about Dota, but
not the
like
first one.
but like the way you kill creeps, like it was really hardcore, just like Dota is right now. Super similar. There's not much that changed. When I watch a Dota game, I understand. Like the map is obviously like the graphics, like they're really different. But other than that, like there's
Hopefully.
still heroes that aren't were named the same. Pretty sure, like Pudge and Crystal Maiden. I'm sure
Yeah.
they still exist, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
still exist. Yeah, they still exist.
yeah,
They got transferred. So it's crazy that it's like two completely different game. But like if the opposite happened, you would have gone competitive in Dota. So it's really not the kind of love for the game, but rather the love of the community that
yeah.
pushed you towards
Yeah, and
competitive.
like I remember there was a female tournament in France called ESCBC, and I saw it started in '03 and I saw it in '04 and I wanted to compete in it and I was in it in '05. So I think that if there was female Dota competition, maybe I would have gone Dota instead of CS. Who knows? I think I'm a way better CS player than I would have ever been a Dota player, so I'm okay with
Yeah.
it.
It's hard not to say that. It's
Yeah.
you've been very successful in Counter-Strike, so it's kind of hard to say like, oh yeah, I would have definitely done more on this
Yeah.
other game I didn't play as much. It
Loki! She's eating my carpet. Come here. Stop eating the carpet, little girl. Okay, we can continue. I'll entertain her with my right hand.
you've done multiple projects within your career. Just to name a few, there was Misclicks, United,
Mhm.
stuff like that. Do you have kind of a right now like another project ongoing that is similar to these kind of things, or are you more focused now on your rejoining, or I don't know the English term, but like you came back to CLG Red now, uh,
Yeah.
stating that you had like a hard time before managing all these things at the same time, and now you're putting that in a higher priority. Do you still have a side project like that, or have you put that all on hold?
Um, right now I'm focusing on my personal brand more than the projects themselves. I think I want to stabilize my personal brand. Like it's as stupid as I have a website in progress the last year and it's almost ready, but I just need to put like the last hours in it. Like, cause I like to do everything myself, so I built everything myself and, like, cause it's fun. I love doing these kind of things, you know? So I'm currently trying to do that. Yeah, so I don't have projects that wanna stabilize my personal brand, wanna start, like, merch. Um I'm not gonna lie, I love what Pookie's doing with their merch. My goal is not to be like Pookie famous, but I do love what she's doing with their merch. So it's something like that that I want to do. I like we all have different body types, and I guess I want to do merch for my kind of body types as well, which is like strong hips and like not necessarily like skinny like this, which in gaming is very like male cut skinny. So I'm gonna try to check out what I can do for that. Also, um, I'm about to start a podcast. It's funny because we're on a podcast. I'm talking about how I want to start a podcast. But like it's imminent. I already signed with like the peop the how do you call that? Like the channel I'm
Yeah.
starting my podcast with. Um, what else? I have some other stuff that I'm working on for with RDS in Quebec, like some cool projects that I'm starting with them. Like I've done vlogs for the last years with them, but recently I've had more time. Well, not more time, but I'm in Quebec, so it changes everything.
Yeah.
Because before I was in LA, so it was really hard to do projects with them. But as everything goes, it's a slow process when you start things with like TV channels and like it's not like I can start tomorrow. And it's more like okay, so we've been in talk for almost a year now, but it's actually gonna happen within the end of the year, hopefully, at least pilots of stuff. Um, and competing there's the WEGs right now that we won last weekend in Toronto. So we won for Team Canada. So we're gonna go to China to represent Canada. Female and Canadian Counter Strike players in China. There's that. Um, so that's for me is already pretty hectic. Like I'm
It's a lot.
most likely gonna re-sign with Omen for 2026. 19, and like all these new opportunities that are gonna happen as well. Like this year, I partnered with Intel again, Samsung, so these requires a lot of time. Um, yeah, and as usual, I also do my YouTube and like I'm really active on Instagram, so it's kind of crazy of a life.
It is. Do you still stream regularly, or you put that on hold?
The goal is to stream regularly. I can't even remember last time I did. Maybe like 2, 3 weeks ago, I
It's
streamed
very
once.
time consuming to stream, so like it
Yeah,
doesn't go because like with YouTube, you can kind of do it whenever you have like a chunk of like 30 minutes or when you're on the
yeah,
go, or like you can basically manage it how you want. But with streaming, it's like you're not gonna sit down for like half an hour and play like one
yeah,
game. Usually you want to play, I don't know, at bare minimum two, if not four or five.
yeah.
uh,
It's very, very difficult for me to stream, um, because my chunks of available and free times are like 1 hour here and there. So like, usually I can't spend it streaming because it's not enough. But my goal is to try to stream for my community. It's not streaming for money anymore or for anything else. Which, like before, it was like I want to grow my stream. I want to be like a successful streamer. Like I'm even wearing like a Streamlab All Star thing because I'm a streamer. Like, but not really anymore. My goal now is just to stream for my community and make sure I can connect with them.
it's it's very like it doesn't fit well with whatever like other things you want to do, I guess, streaming just for the time that you have to sit down, like do nothing else but
Yeah.
streaming for like a few hours.
And I mean, it works for a lot of people, like for Shroud, Summit, like Ninja, like these people, they love streaming 10, 12 hours a day. I don't. Like, I don't. My streamings, if it was full time, it would be 3 to 4 hours a day. And that would be full time for me because I just can't do, well, I used to, I just can't. I don't like it that much anymore. Like, I think it's fun for a couple of games to catch up. But for me, it gets me bitter to lose on stream way more than if I'm not on stream. I can't focus on my game really well because I'm like talking to chat and like it's harder than it looks, especially when for everyone. I was about to say for like minorities, but you know what? For everyone it's hard. Like you see these streamers, they complain like all the time about, damn, why am I even doing this? Like Summit and Ninja, they complain sometimes, and then they're like, okay, I make $1 million a month. Maybe I'll do it again. But like for me, I don't know. Like I could, I don't want to. It's weird. I don't value money like that much. So I guess I'd rather like feel accomplished. Like I bought a condo this year, and my dog, my dream dog, and that's like I was talking to my banker this morning, and she was like, "What's your next goals?" And I'm like, I'm good, girl. Like I don't have a next goal. Like this is it. Like I just got almost my dream condo and my dream dog. Like I don't need anything else. I also bought a car this year. Like bought a car, condo, dog. That's it. Like
What else could you want? I mean, what they I feel like they either save it or they spend it on a bigger house or a bigger car or whatever they already have but bigger, which ultimately doesn't really make you happier. I mean,
no.
it
Side note, I read that households that have $70,000 of income per person are the happiest. So like after you reach 70,000, then
like
it goes down.
yeah, there's a plateau. Yeah, I was about to mention that also. I was like, you know what? After 70K a year, because I read the same thing. I think it's like once you can take care of like everything and don't have to worry about like will I eat like next month,
Mhm.
your everything else after that comes with your, I guess, your projects. Like what can you do to be fulfilled? So
Yeah.
taking care of a dog, having a relationship, having a nice job, that matters more than the actual amount in
Yeah.
your bank
I
account
guess
once
like
you've met.
I'll want a summer house for the dog, and if I get kids, I think it's really cool to have a summer house near a lake to go there like in the summer and stuff. But I don't need it right now. Like the kids' plans are not happening. So
I mean, it wouldn't block like everything else that you're doing. Just having a kid right now, it's
Mhm.
kind of have to not move as much
Yeah,
when you have a
yeah,
baby. You've done multiple keynotes also. You've done one with Unity, I think, or is that you've done one
yeah.
recently?
Last week, yeah,
Yeah, and you're meeting with panelists later. Is that
yeah.
something that you like a lot, doing public speaking?
I mean, I get asked like almost like every couple days to do panels and conferences and stuff like that. I can't say yes to all. There's some actually that I say yes that my agent and my boyfriend are like, "Why did you say yes to that? Like, it's so much time consuming, and it's you doing it for free." And I'm just like, but like I'm available that day. Yeah, she wants to come on, mommy. So yeah, I do that a lot. Say hi again. Hello. Hello. But yeah, it's something that's very easy for me. And if it can help the conferences promote like gaming or whatnot, like I do always want to kind of elevate the gaming community to uh be respected. Does that make sense? And I think I'm able to represent them in a proud way. So yeah, I like to do it.
That's the first time I saw you was at a conference at the university. It's stuff that seems to be very close to you, like your heart or passion is to try to help people from here. For the record, here like being Montreal or just Quebec in general, how hard of a conflict it is, because I've seen some of your posts, like you get complaints still with people saying like, oh, why do you do stuff in English, or why don't you do more in French? Well, you
Yeah.
still do a lot of stuff in French, but don't they like realize that the gaming world is just like in English in general? Like, we're both French native speakers, and yet this podcast is in English because you can simply just reach more people that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that a lot. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. I do a lot of content in French. And I've been, even when I lived in the US, I would fly sometimes on my own money to Quebec to not only attend gaming events or like do like interviews or TV shows or whatnot to support the gaming community. So it's been very puzzling for me. And it really frustrates me. I guess I should be bigger than that, but it really frustrates me. Recently, I saw this article and it was in a journal, maybe Journal de Montréal, I'm not sure. And then this guy commented in the comment. And I never read the comments. I never read the comments, but for some reason that day I read it. I don't know why. Maybe a friend posted or something. And I read it, and he went like something like, uh, "Why do you even support her? She doesn't even do anything in French. Like all of her content is English. She like something like I had turned my back on my country or whatever." And I was just like, that's so much bullshit. Like I couldn't believe someone could say these things. Um and like sometimes these kind of things hurt me more than saying she's ugly, she's fat, she's bad at the game. Cause like these are values that I truly care for. Like my French Canadian roots are super important for me. Um Like, I just moved back to Quebec because I loved my country so much, although I had, like, an amazing career in the US. So, like, it's super, super frustrating. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't be more upset about these kind of things, because I never ever turn down a fan at events, or I always take my time to do, like, any conferences or any charity work in Quebec that I can, and then, like, I read these kind of things, it's just like it's a big fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
But at that
so
point,
that one was really upsetting.
yeah, at that point, like there's just nothing more you can do right now. Like for I don't know how to say it. Like it would be hard to do more than you're already doing for like the scene here without like completely stopping everything else, which
Yeah, I would
would
have
in
to stop
turn,
everything else.
yeah, which in turn would be a downside for what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Because the reason you're kind of able to do all of this is because you have an amazing background of work that you've done, and you're also a professional gamer, so there's a lot of people that respect you for like the work ethic that
Yeah.
it takes and your accomplishments in the game. So if you stop all of that, then everything else also kind of
I think you nailed it.
suffers.
What they don't understand is that if I focus 100% on the Quebec community, maybe I would be more famous in Quebec, but it would hurt this Quebec scene more in a way because I can accomplish more by staying international for Quebec
Yeah.
than the opposite, right? But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't do anything in French and doesn't participate with stuff in French, and that's why I'm currently working on projects with Harveys, and I do any interview that I can in French, and like I talk like about my love of gaming in French all the time, like and
Even tweet in
like
French from time to time.
yeah, and I
It's
haven't
just
turned my back on Quebec at all. I live here. I bought a condo here.
what made you so if you had to compare living in LA and living in Quebec, I don't know which city, but living in Quebec, I guess I would, let's assume Montreal and LA, what would be like the key differences between the two?
Car versus public transportation, that would be the biggest. It's impossible to not have a car in LA. So I would Uber all the time. Um, or as the Americans say, Uber. Uber all the time. And as far as the rest, I think honestly, the rest, well, the weather,
Yeah,
obviously,
obviously, yeah.
the weather in California is just ridiculous. It's unfair for the rest of the world. Like, honestly, why? Why is a place that lucky and then like you have other places that are not lucky? I just like Russia versus California. Like, there's some like
It's not the
there's
same.
some
Yeah, it's unfair. Like we had snow, 3 days ago, and I'm sure over there they
yeah.
just don't know what snow is. Yeah,
It's not fair. Well, California, actually, that's why it's so frustrating. They have mountains where they can snowboard and go surf in the same day.
it's
Like,
actually unfair now that you say
it's
that.
super unfair. They have the best weather on earth. Well, actually, I haven't been everywhere in the world, but they definitely are at the top of the food chain regarding the weather. So weather and transportation, traffic, like all that kind of stuff, it's really awful in California. At least in LA. Food wise, we're both really lucky. Different kind of food though. Like over there, it's like Mexican and Asian is amazing. Montreal Mexican, let's not really talk about it. It's not that great. So, but other kind of things in Montreal are amazing. So I think like I find my love for both here and there. Because my job requires me to be inside a lot. I don't. Oh, my screen closed. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, everything is fine on
Okay.
my side. Yeah, it is just the usual flash.
You're about to come back. I don't know what happened. But yeah, because uh my job is a lot online and in front of the computer, I don't mind it that much the weather. Um, it was better there, but I'm okay here. um yeah, I think that I really like living in California, but I'm the kind of person that can live anywhere. And that's why I came back because I want to be close to my family. My family is super healthy and like I'm super close to my parents. They're like my best friends. So, yeah, I want to be here with them.
And I feel like that's one of the perks of being a gamer is like you're so often inside that, weather problems do not affect us as much as like
Yeah.
regular people. I see that on my job all the time, people complaining about the weather. I'm like, I didn't even look outside like once. So I didn't
Yeah.
even know we had
I
that.
have to go outside with the doggo now, which is very new for me.
Ooh.
Like waking up in the morning and then going outside is like I'm still very bad at it. Um, Still working on that part actually because I suck. So the pee pee pad are like one side of two peas is being used because I don't like to go outside. But she's teaching me to go outside, so I'm enjoying more and more going outside. It's so cold already in Quebec.
Yeah,
Ah,
it is. I mean, I have to wear my hat inside right now because I have like no
I'm
hair.
freezing
So
right
it's like
now. Yeah.
crazy freezing all the time. Like there's something I never thought about
Uh,
when I shaved my head. but it gets so cold so quickly. It
Yeah.
gets so cold so quickly. So I have to wear a hat. Do you speaking of going outside and taking care of the dog, do you do any like fitness or exercise? Because doing what you do, like you said, you're often sat all day long. You're in front of a computer. Do you do anything to like take care of yourself?
I used to for the last out of the last 5 years, I did 4 years of like almost every day would go to the gym or do some sort of activity. In the last 6 months, sorry, I've been extremely busy traveling multiple times a week, like 2, 3 cities a week. Um, and I still have my gym membership, but I wasn't able to go almost like all the last 6 months. So I gained instantly like 20 to 25 pounds in the last 6 months because of that. Um, like hotels, restaurants, and like travel, like airport food, just all that kind of stuff is awful. And um it went up real fast in weight. So now I'm trying to like I stabilize it and I'm slowly going down right now. Um it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty rough. The chubbiness is
Yeah.
back and I don't like it.
I mean, it's really not that bad. But yeah, it's something that. Do you notice a difference in your performance when you're actively going to the gym,
Yes.
and moving when you're playing Counter Strike?
I feel that when I'm actively going to the gym, my whole life is just better. I feel better in my body. I feel like I want to move. I feel like just in my house, I like right now, I would be thirsty. I'd be like, I'll just like get up, you know. But if I went to the gym, I'll be like, yeah, go in the kitchen to get water. Da, da, da. Like I don't know, like my mood is just better. Um, I start my day super active right away. So when I'm back from the gym, I'm like cleaning and, like, just all like, it's just, like, a good big morning, but I haven't had the time to be at home. This is my first week at home, full week from I got here, like, Sunday at 2 a.m., and we're leaving next Sunday, so this is gonna be my first full week at home in since February, like, something like
That's
that.
insane.
So I'm super excited to be home. Super excited.
So like finally, that
Yeah.
yeah, that has to be hard. And you mentioned airport foods and stuff like that, which is probably like, restaurants, they are great when it comes to taste. Like it tastes awesome when you go to a restaurant and you go eat out all the time, but for the body it's usually not the best, you
Yeah,
know.
it's bad, and, like, I think for the first 6 months that I've been traveling a lot, I was just like, uh, like, I'm in New York, I need to go get Italian, or, "Oh, I'm in Chicago, I need deep fried pizza," or, like but now I've been traveling so much, then going back to the same places so much, like Toronto, LA, like, New York, like, I've gone to these places so much in the last days, weeks/months that I don't feel the need to go to these places anymore, so I kinda just wanna stay at the hotel and take the salad. So that's been great because 'cause I'm, like, at this mood right now. Hopefully it stays there because, like, I went to Hawaii for, like, 20 hours. I literally flew to Hawaii for, like, a day and flew back, and, like, I had to try all these food that people were like, "You were in Hawaii, you have to try this," and, like, it's always like that, and damn it, like, that's how you gain so much weight.
Yeah, talk about first world problems.
I know, right?
Yeah, but it's still cool now that you've been doing like you've gone so much. But I guess when your life is always like that, it eventually it will you look for kind of to stabilize a bit, maybe not completely stop these kind of things, but maybe just slow down like an hour a day to take care of more of yourself, or do you not intend to hit the brakes at all?
It's hard. It's like this last week, we were working on this Unity keynote, and I was supposed to rehearse like 2 hours a day, and the rest was going to be for me. So I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna be able to work on the website and like whatever. This is great. So I had like 5 days in LA, and the rehearsal ended up being 10 to 12 hours a day instead of 2. So like, yeah, I could have gone to the gym before that 12 hours or after the 12 hours, but I didn't. You know.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It's like it's easy to find like, oh, you had a 1 hour time frame. Yeah, but I've been working for 12 hours. I just want to fucking sit
Yeah,
down or
it's very
practice.
hard, and like that really believes in if you want something, you should find time for it. So right now, if I'm not finding time to work out, it's my fault and it's because I don't want it enough. And if I want to do it, then I need to make a change. Because for the last 5 years, I was able to do it. So what happened in the last 6 months? Well, I increased like crazy my amount of work. So do I need to reduce my amount of work to go back to the gym? And that's what I'm doing right now. So I reduced for November and December. I drastically reduced the amount of jobs I took. I took like 2, 3 stupid jobs I shouldn't have taken because they're not lucrative or anything. I was just being nice, and now I regret it. But it's whatever. I'm still gonna do it.
That's what you get for
Um,
being Canadian. You're
yeah.
too nice.
But so yeah, I'm gonna try to slow down a little bit to think about myself and my doggy and my doggo.
uh, before we leave, I want to talk about we had a huge event somewhat recently with Dreamhack Montreal. It was at the Olympic Stadium. You were there. What do you think about just the esports scene in Montreal in general? Do you think it's heading in the right direction, being that you've traveled to so many places?
Yes, Dreamhack Montreal was a big step. I think that people didn't realize how big esports is in Montreal yet. Um, when we were doing like events at there was like the Norton Riyadh Bell Center, and it was really not that successful, in spectator wise. I mean, I'm not talking about organization or whatever. I'm talking about people didn't really show up to watch the games. Um, Although we're filling stadiums everywhere across the world, in Montreal, it was still more about development than game development than esports. But I do strongly believe that we have people loving esports and loving these streamers and all these kind of things. We just um, didn't have the I want to say it in French, effervescence, like the thrill to attend an event as a
Yeah.
community. Like for example, Comic Con Montreal is, or Otaku Kuton, Okatucon, whatever. Like
I,
Okatucon. I'm like, what's the name of it? Anyway.
Otaku
Oh,
Con?
oh
That
yeah,
it?
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Or like these events, and I think that DreamHack Montreal this year, like, really made a step in the right direction where it was a stadium. So news talked about it everywhere. People that had no idea what really it was, brought their kids, and they get like freaked out all weekend. And I think that it really um, finally put Montreal like, hey, esports is awesome and it's a family thing. So um, I think this is really cool, and I think that next year is gonna be even more successful. Like, they sold out all the tickets Saturday, uh, which is crazy. They did not expect that much people, so I don't exactly know the numbers, but they surpassed their, if we reach this, we're gonna be super freaking happy, but we think we're gonna reach this, and they surpassed the freaking happy mark. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's
it was
good to
very,
hear.
very successful, and we hope that next year is gonna be even bigger, and we think it will be.
There's something about because I was there, I was casting Rocket League tournaments. There's like this whole I don't know what is it like in English, but like les gradins, like the seats. Like
Mhm.
there's this thing that we did not have at the previous venue. But do you think eventually they'll sell tickets for people to just attend like in the seats and watch the competitions? Because I feel like right now there's either like the visitors that they just kind of hang out, they look like, oh, what's up at the PlayStation area, or looking at the tournaments. Then you have the BYUC people who bring their computers to compete, and then you have the tournaments. But I feel like there could be another completely like other type of people or tickets, and it's people you can just sit down and watch a tournament. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people would pay $10 to just like sit down, and they were mostly empty. Like there was a lot of people in the stadium, like there, but in the seats, there's still a lot of like underutilized space, I feel like.
I think that we have a very unique venue at the stadium across the world. Actually, it's I have never seen someone use that venue that way. Yeah, we've seen like arenas split, like, but having a full on expo in the middle with like 6, 7 stages across. I don't think we've ever seen that. And I don't think that the goal for DreamHack is to split the spectators and the people attending the booths and stuff for multiple reasons. I think the sponsors wouldn't want that. Um, and I think that we want people to experience the whole DreamHack experience, not just like the spectator part of it. But uh, I do believe that more and more space is going to be full in the seats. Um, this is definitely just the beginning, and we're gonna have even bigger competitions next year. I'm for sure
Positive. Um,
positive it's gonna
yeah.
happen.
I think you mentioned it well. Also, the fact that it was in a stadium. Not only is there like the whole area around the stadium that's just really awesome because it's huge. There's also like there's a lot of advertisement and all that thing. What would be like
Yep.
before we leave? What would be the one thing you would, I guess, recommend for like esports in Montreal to be like even more like we took a good step, but what would be like the best thing that we could do? I don't know, as a region.
What's really successful for Quebec, if you look at sports, is really like feeling like our Quebecers are succeeding internationally. That's why it's so strong in the Olympics when a Canadian or Quebecer succeeds, and we like they become superstar instantly if they win a medal, and like people know their names, and like we're super proud. Right now, name me 5 esports pro players in Quebec.
I mean, I know there's a few, but like there's no whole teams for sure. But like there's Ally with in Smash 4. He's from Quebec. There's a streamer called Noxious. He's not a pro player though, but he's like a caster slash streamer. In the card game scene, there's not a ton. You know, there was
Okay,
this
so
Overwatch
there's
player, but like that's
I think
it. I don't know.
there's almost 20 to 30 pros right now,
Yeah, which we
and
don't know about.
you're not able to name them.
Yeah.
I'm not able to name all of them. Um, and I think that's something that we can work on as a community, showcasing these people, getting to know them, being interested in their career, um, knowing what they do, how they got there, what games they play, what can we do to support them. Right now, like it's very, very small and thin. The amount of people that we can reach with our Quebec scenes. And these guys are super known in the international scene, but over here we don't even know they exist. It's like the GSP um, feeling where
Yeah.
he was winning championships before he was known here. Um, so it's something that we could work on as a community.
Yeah, who was massive outside, and then he comes here and people are like, oh, who's this guy? And he's known like everywhere. I think that's a
Yeah.
good point. And in esports, I guess I probably like know them, but I just don't know they're from here. I guess that happens a lot.
Mm,
There's a lot of people in pro teams and you're like, oh shit, he's from here. That's a good point. I never thought of that. It's a fantastic point.
mm.
Before yeah, it's gonna be time for us to leave. I know you're very busy, so I don't want to take too
Yeah.
much of your time. If you had like one thing, what's like the most important thing in your life right now that you want to say, and where can people reach you?
Good question. I think that whenever I start my podcast, make sure to tune in because that's going to be something that I have no idea how to do, and I'm excited to see how it's going to work. I think I'm a very silly and stupid person. Um, like I really like to have fun, so we'll see how it goes. I also recorded something on LDS last week for Oops, the silly TV show that they have. So you should watch it because I laughed the whole time and I just kept playing along with Michel Lacroix. And I think it's going to be a great episode. Literally, I was crying during the episode of laughing, so you should watch it. And it's their first like gaming episode on RDS for Oops. It's usually like super sports, so that's gonna be pretty cool. And other than that, I'm super active on Instagram. I love when people comment on my Instagram stuff and love my Instagram stuff.
Is
So
your Instagram at Miss RV like everything else?
It's Steph Harvey because someone stole Miss Harvey. So Steph
Oh,
Harvey with 1H. But I think if you search Miss Harvey, you'll find me.
all right, great, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this casual talk with Miss Harvey. You can subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you want. If you do enjoy it, please leave it a like. I love your face, and I'll see you next week.